So we've talked about pitch, now we're going to talk about rhythm, which is all about duration, how long and how short a tone is. Now when you combine several of these tones together, you get a groove, you get the beat of the song. Think about the song We Will Rock You by Queen. Basically what that is two short notes and a long note. Just listen. If you think about it, short, short, long, short, short, long. It's a simple pattern, but imagine how incredibly powerful that is when you slam it into a stadium PA at about 140 dB. You know, you can cause thousands of people to react to that simple groove. Well, that groove is made up of 2 eighth notes and a quarter note. That's that simple pattern. So all of these durations, here's how they get their names. If you think about a bar of music, that's kind of like the basic unit, 1 bar. And 90% of the music we do divides that bar into 4 beats. Now, if you take a note that takes up the entire bar, that's called a whole note because it takes up a whole bar. A note that has a duration of half that much is called a half note. A note that takes up a quarter of that is a quarter note, and an eighth note, and a 16th note, and so on. There are actually notes you can keep doubling, 32nd notes, 64th notes that you see sometimes. But the bulk of the pop music that we do is made up primarily of eighth notes, quarter notes, half notes. That's where you're going to spend most of your time. Now bear in mind that there's also an equivalent rest for every note. So in other words, there's a quarter rest and a quarter note. You can see them on the screen. A half rest and a half note, an eighth rest and an eighth note. So those all combine together into simple repeating patterns. That's how a song gets a groove. That's how the beat of the song is established. Now I definitely recommend that you dive into your workbook and check out all the details. Here's some other things you need to know about rhythm. There's a thing called a dotted note. Any of those notes we talked about, quarter note, eighth note, half note, if you see a dot after it, what that does is it increases the value by half. There's also a thing called a tied note. In other words, if you have a quarter note and an eighth note with a tie connecting them, you add the value of the two, but you don't strike the second note again. That's called a tied note. Another interesting aspect of rhythm is called syncopation. So just like in that song we played, We Will Rock You, everything is falling right on the strong beats, right where you would think it should. So if you were going to count off that song, 1, 2, 3, 4, short, short, long, short, short, long, everything is falling right on top of it. There's a thing called a syncopation. Basically what a syncopation is when you have a strong accent in a place where you don't expect it to be. Listen to these 2 great examples of syncopation in Mighty to Save from Hillsong. Now listen to the intro of Jesus Saves. To let all the world know that Jesus saves, raise a shout. To let all the world know that Jesus saves. You hear how those accents fall in an unexpected place? That's a syncopation. A couple of other terms to know. Half time, double time, pick up notes. These are all described in the workbook, so go back and check those out.